I overheard my husband saying to his mom, "Finally, she's in our trap, let's start our secret plan." "But no, I gave it to you because I wanted you to use it," Jack replied. "I heard what my brother and mother said. I knew it. They're the worst." Intrigued, Kate asked, "What do you mean, you knew it?" Jack explained that he had been in a similar situation before. James had promised to marry another woman, but she had run away just before the wedding, because James and his mother treated her the same way they were treating Kate now. Kate, a 29-year-old housewife, had recently married James, a man 4 years her senior. Initially, she found him mature and calm, drawn to his frequent mentions of his mother, believing him to be a good man who valued family. However, her perception shifted drastically after their wedding. On their wedding day, Kate's mother-in-law, a kind and welcoming woman, seemed to transform. Along with James, she began issuing demands. "Hey Kate, hurry up and bring me tea," or "clean the bathroom and toilet quickly." Her mother-in-law's voice was sharp and commanding, leaving Kate feeling increasingly uneasy. The biggest shock came when Kate discovered an unexpected roommate. One morning, she was startled to find an unfamiliar man in the kitchen. "I'm Jack, James's younger brother," he introduced himself. Kate was stunned. She had never been told about a brother, let alone a roommate. When Kate questioned her mother-in-law about Jack, she received a dismissive response. "Oh, you mean Jack? Don't worry about him, he's just a reclusive ghost." Kate was aghast. Her mother-in-law seemed indifferent to her own son, dismissing him as a useless hermit. This blatant disregard for her own child deeply saddened and disappointed Kate. Seeking answers, Kate approached James, hoping for some brotherly understanding, but his response was cold and dismissive. "Leave him alone. Just pretend he doesn't exist. He won't harm you." His nonchalant dismissal of his own brother left Kate disillusioned. James, she realized, was a mama's boy, lacking any real family connection. Later that day, Kate bumped into Jack, who was heading to the bathroom. "You married my brother, didn't you?" he asked. "Yeah, what's wrong?" Kate replied, sensing his unease. "I'm sorry, it's nothing, but I don't say anything bad. You'd better get out of here," he said, his voice urgent. Confused, Kate asked, "What?" "I'm sorry, but you should get a divorce," Jack stated, his words leaving Kate both offended and confused. She couldn't believe that after only 1 day of marriage, Jack was urging her to end it. "It's none of your business," she retorted. "I can handle it." "I'm sorry about that," Jack apologized, bowing his head. "I'm also sorry for my outburst." His sincere apology, coupled with his strange demeanor, left Kate wondering about his true intentions. Perhaps he was just trying to be kind, to warn her about something. The next morning, as Kate prepared breakfast, Jack came downstairs for a drink. "Good morning, Jack. Why don't you join us for breakfast?" she offered. "Good morning, Kate. Thank you for asking," Jack replied, glancing at his mother. "I'm not eating breakfast with him." "Just get the breakfast done," her mother-in-law snapped, her voice laced with hostility. "It's okay," Jack said quickly, retreating to his room. Kate wanted to apologize for her harsh words the previous day, but she couldn't bring herself to do so. "Hey, all you have to do is housework. Don't do anything unnecessary, okay?" her mother-in-law warned, her gaze fierce. Kate was stunned by her mother-in-law's harsh attitude. Even though she was the bride, she was being treated like a servant. James's behavior towards her had also changed drastically. "What the heck? Today's menu is curry. You should have told me before lunch. I had curry for lunch too," he shouted, his voice laced with anger. "How was that my fault?" Kate retorted, her voice strained. Why didn't he call her and tell her he had curry for lunch and wanted something else? "Hey, you're not apologizing. Who do you think you are? You're here to do the housework. Make sure you understand that," he continued, his voice booming. Kate was shocked and remained silent. James didn't love her. He just wanted a housekeeper. His cruelty, delivered with such a calm voice, was chilling. They didn't care about her. They just wanted to make themselves comfortable. They were using her. Watching them giggle and watch TV in the living room, Kate felt a wave of despair wash over her. As soon as she reached the upstairs landing, tears streamed down her face. A gentle hand offered her a handkerchief. "I still think you should leave," a familiar voice said. Looking up, Kate saw Jack. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," he said. She hastily wiped away her tears. "I'm sorry. I used your handkerchief." Hearing this story, Kate felt a flicker of relief. It confirmed that James and his mother were putting on a facade before marriage, pretending to be nice to avoid scaring away potential brides. But she felt hopeless. She had nowhere else to go. If James left her, she was just a housewife with no job, no income, and no place to live. Her husband and mother-in-law wouldn't let her get a part-time job, and she couldn't afford to move out and rent another place. "If we keep talking here, it will look suspicious," Jack said, interrupting her thoughts. "Let's talk at a coffee shop next time, if you like." He handed her a piece of paper with his contact information and went back to his room. Determined to escape this toxic environment, Kate told her mother-in-law that she was going to the city office and then stopping by the supermarket on her way home. She made sure everything was perfect before leaving, pretending to agree with her mother-in-law's grumbling about being late for dinner. At the coffee shop, Kate confided in Jack about her situation. Her parents were gone, she had canceled her rental and quit her job, and she needed to start over. "Kate, can you draw?" Jack asked. "Huh, what do you mean?" Kate responded, confused. "Oh, I see. So can you?" "Yes, well, I went to art school before," she explained. "Really? That's great," Jack exclaimed. "Just in time. Another manga artist is looking for an assistant. You can do it remotely." "But I don't have a computer right now," Kate replied. "I'll lend you my computer that I'm not using right now," Jack offered. "Really? Thank you so much. But why do you have an extra computer? What do you do for a living?" Kate asked. "That's kind of you to ask. You don't think I'm just a recluse, do you?" Jack replied. No. You use polite words a lot, and you look neat and tidy, so I don't think that at all." "Do you work from home?" Kate asked. "Yes, actually. I'm an engineer," Jack revealed. "An engineer?" Kate exclaimed, surprised. "I didn't know that. I didn't realize you were a business owner." "Yes. I used to work for a company, but now I run my own business. It's easier for me to take orders on my own. We also have web designers as employees. We only have a few people, so everything is done remotely," Jack explained. "I see. So that's why you're home all the time. But your mother and James said you're just home doing nothing. Haven't you told them the truth?" Kate asked. "I don't see any benefit in telling those two," Jack replied. "True, but if you're such a good manager, why don't you just leave that house?" Kate wondered. Jack hesitated before sharing his thoughts with her for the first time. "Let's not talk about me. I need to introduce you to the manga artist." Jack immediately made a phone call, and soon a remote interview was set up for Kate. She was to interview with the manga artist on Wednesday, a day when her mother-in-law was usually out for lessons. The interview went well, and Kate was hired immediately. Considering her situation, they agreed to send the hiring documents in an envelope addressed to Jack. Next, they needed to find a place for Kate to stay. "I have a friend who works for a real estate agency. He can give you a good deal," Jack said. Kate was amazed by Jack's seemingly endless resources. Their search for a new place to stay went smoothly, and they were able to sign a contract for a place that met Kate's needs. Just when everything seemed to be falling into place, Kate had a fight with James. "Hey, where's dinner?" he demanded, waking her up from her sleep. He was slightly drunk, having just returned from a night out. "It's midnight, And besides, you said you didn't want to eat because you were going out for drinks, Kate replied. Shut up. The king is home, and you don't even get up to greet him. Now you say you didn't make dinner. You're a bad wife, so useless, he sneered. His words ignited Kate's anger. Do you have any idea how hard I've been working with your mother for you? How can you act so superior to me? That's because you're my wife. A wife should support her husband, and your job is to take care of the house. If you can't do your chores, don't go against me. A wife who can't do the housework is just like trash, James said, his voice dripping with contempt. As James spoke, Kate heard the door open. Her mother-in-law left the room awkwardly. You're just like trash, James continued, his sneer widening. Jack is also trash, and this place looks like a dump. His mother-in-law chimed in. Let's take out the oversized trash. What did you just say? Kate demanded, her voice trembling with rage. James opened a drawer and pulled out a piece of paper. This is what I mean. It's a divorce paper. You're no good to me anymore. I'm going to find another wife who can take your place. That's why I'm divorcing you. Get out of my house, you disgusting. You think your wife is just a slave. The best wife is one who acts like a housekeeper, he continued, his voice laced with malice. Don't you worry about saying things like that. I hope you regret what you just said one day, Kate retorted, her voice shaking with anger. What are you trying to say? James asked, his voice laced with a mixture of amusement and disdain. I'm not afraid of any threats from a housewife with no job and no parents like you. He laughed, his laughter echoing through the room. His mother-in-law joined in, her laughter harsh and cruel. That's so true. You can't do anything about it because you're just trash, James said, his words cutting like knives. Well, I understand how you feel now. I'm going to move out of this house, Kate declared, her voice firm. She signed the divorce papers and left, her heart heavy with a mixture of anger and relief. Kate put the divorce papers in her bag and began to pack her belongings. James and his mother watched her with cruel grins. Now you're homeless. What on earth are you going to do now? Well, it's none of our business anymore. Good luck, homeless lady. Oh, and Jack, this is a good time for him to get out too. Yeah, let's take out the trash and clean this place up. After we get rid of him, we'll tear down the wall and make it bigger and more comfortable, James said, his voice dripping with malicious glee. They went to Jack's room and told him to pack up his belongings and leave. Kate, who had already planned to leave, was surprised that they were also kicking Jack out. She regretted letting her emotions take over and having a fight with James. I'm sorry, Jack. It's my fault, she said, her voice filled with remorse. No, don't worry about it, Jack replied. I already realized I can't live with them anymore. Besides, I have other things I'm interested in. Maybe it was lucky we had that fight. He smiled, his eyes twinkling with a sense of liberation. It seemed that Jack wasn't bothered by leaving, which made Kate feel a bit better. 5 days later, on Wednesday, when her mother-in-law was out of town, Jack and Kate called a moving company and moved out. After they finished moving, Kate's mother-in-law called her new place. Don't worry, we have already left, Kate said, her voice laced with a touch of triumph. Jack came with you, didn't he? Her mother-in-law asked, her voice laced with a hint of suspicion. Yes, we moved out together, Kate confirmed. I'm glad I don't have to see you guys anymore, she said, her voice filled with relief. Her mother-in-law, unaware of the truth, hung up the phone, seemingly satisfied with the outcome. But what she didn't know was that Jack and Kate were planning their revenge. Kate had managed to move her belongings and start a new life just in time, thanks to Jack. She had received a hefty sum of money from James in the divorce. Jack had secretly recorded the conversation between James and his mother, capturing their hateful words. Their harassment and verbal abuse proved that the divorce was their fault, allowing Kate to claim a significant amount of money as revenge. Jack's friend, a lawyer, had helped her secure the settlement. James was shocked and accepted the payment, his arrogance and cruelty momentarily subdued. Kate was deeply grateful for Jack's help and decided not to mention it to anyone. A few days later, Kate began receiving numerous phone calls from her former mother-in-law. It felt like a demon knocking at her door. She had forgotten to block her number, so she had no choice but to answer. "Kate, where are you?" her mother-in-law demanded, her voice laced with a mixture of desperation and anger. "There's no way I'll tell you that. We're strangers now," Kate replied, her voice firm. "Please, don't say that," her mother-in-law begged. "I'm calling because, where is Jack?" "Huh? Why are you asking about Jack?" Kate responded, her voice laced with amusement. "I'm looking for him, but I can't reach him anymore," her mother-in-law said, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and desperation. "That's too bad. Maybe he doesn't like you anymore," Kate said, trying to provoke her. Someone else took the phone. "Don't be silly. You two moved out together. You must know where he is. You're a bunch of jerks." Kate knew where Jack was, but she wasn't going to tell them. "I'm afraid I don't know. You'll have to find him yourself," she said, her voice calm and steady. "Where the heck are you anyway? You don't have a home, a job, or a place to live. If you're willing to beg, I might let you come back, but you'd have to be my housekeeper," her mother-in-law said, her voice laced with a mixture of arrogance and desperation. "Who's coming back to you? I have a job and a place to live. I'm not going back to you," Kate replied, her voice filled with newfound confidence. "That's a lie," her mother-in-law shouted, her voice filled with rage. James, who was listening in, was surprised. He didn't know that Kate had managed to get everything sorted out so quickly. Kate didn't bother to correct him. "Please don't call me again. If you call me or come near me, I'll call the police," Kate said, her voice firm and unwavering. She hung up the phone and immediately blocked her mother-in-law's number. She had already blocked James's number. Their panic was palpable. They had just realized something important. They had assumed that James's father had left them a lot of money, but it was Jack who had been secretly sending money to his mother's account every month. His mother had believed him to be a lazy, jobless person, unaware of his true generosity. They couldn't believe that the bank had divided James's father's inheritance when Jack was kicked out of the house. He had stopped sending money, and the regular transfers had ceased. They finally realized who had been providing for them all those years, but it was too late. Jack had already cut ties with his mother and brother. James had no money to pay his alimony, and his mother was now living off the money that Jack had been sending her every month. If the money stopped coming, she would be in a lot of trouble. They both got what they deserved. Kate felt no sympathy for them. Jack had bought a nice apartment in New York and was living comfortably. Why was he so rich? Why had he sent money to his parents and stayed with them all those years? It was because he had made a promise to his father. Unlike his mother, Jack's father had loved him dearly. Despite the abuse he suffered from his mother and brother, he had stayed because of his father's wish. "You may not like your mother and brother, but they are important family members to me. So, after I pass away, please take care of them too," his father had told him. To keep his promise, Jack had secretly sent money to support his mother and brother, despite their mistreatment. It was a testament to his kindness and compassion. He was a good man, deserving of respect and admiration. Kate met Jack once after they moved out. He told her about the promise he had made to his father. Kate understood. She hoped he could move on from the pain and find happiness. Kate, who had felt hopeless after being tricked by James, was grateful to Jack for saving her. She believed he was an important person in her life, and she wished him happiness. 2 years later, Jack asked Kate to marry him. He proposed to her, but that was another story. It was horrifying how a nice person could change so much after getting married. It was a marriage scam. Kate was glad that her brother-in-law, Jack, was a reliable and kind person. Now she was married to him, and she had overcome the obstacles that life had thrown her way. She felt relieved that happiness was finally in her hands. She hoped these happy days would continue. After watching full story, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe for more awesome stories like this. Stay blessed and healthy. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story. Bye.